Hi Aquarius, welcome back to the Astrology 33 channel. This is your September 2026 tarot reading. Thank you to those of you who have liked, viewed, shared, and subscribed to the channel. I appreciate all of that. For those of you new to the channel, as far as what we have from us, it's a 12 card spread with each card representing a different house of the zodiac, starting with your sign. Aquarius is the first house, all the way through to Capricorn representing the 12th. Once we get to the main spread, we'll pull an oracle card as well for some additional insight. As far as the decks being used, for the main tarot deck, we have the Brady Tarot, and for the oracle deck, we have the Wisdom of the Oracle. We're actually going to start the reading off by rolling those astrology dice we have in front of us to get an idea where you folks should be as far as that goes. All right, we have Aries. So Aries is your third house of communication, short journeys, and siblings. Plenty going on there, of course. We have Saturn there, retrograde. Neptune also there, retrograde. Toward the end of the month, we're going to have a full moon in Aries. I think that's the 26th or 27th of September. What else? Oh, and Chiron's actually going to be going back into Aries around the middle of the month. So, needless to say, it makes sense that came up with the dice because there's going to be a lot going on there. We have Venus, so another significant one. Primarily, it's currently in Libra, and it's going to enter into a pre-retrograde shadow period on the 31st of August. And then finally on the 10th of September, it'll move into Scorpio, still in pre-shadow period, but that's where it'll be the rest of the month. So for you guys, basically, it's going to be moving from your 9th house of philosophy, higher learning, and foreign affairs, and then eventually into your 10th house of career and social status. So keep that in mind. And we have 8. So 8th house energy for you guys is Virgo. So yeah, the dice are not lying today because obviously we're about to enter into Virgo season. And so we'll have the sun and Virgo. What else? We'll have the new moon in Virgo on the 10th of September. What else? We're about to have Mercury move in there in a few days as well. Actually, that might be it, but still, quite a bit of energy going through there, right? So, 8th house, if I didn't mention that already, points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments. So, keep all that in mind as we go through the main spread. So, first house energy, which points to personality, self-awareness, and appearance, we have the star. Again, good fit here too, right? Because this is actually the major arcana card for your sign. But just going beyond that surface level part of it, what always stands out to me with the star is, it does come after the tower, right? So some of you might have gone through a tower moment recently, and now I feel like you're coming out on the other side of that where you're actually experiencing the growth and the lessons from it in a positive sense, and you're able to move forward, right? So it might have been a bit of a course correction for you guys, but I feel like this is saying you're finding your footing again now. For your second house energy of possession, self-worth, and finances, we have the Fool. So, with that said, maybe because you feel like you're back on your feet around something, right? Maybe you're going to take a bit of a risk when it comes to your finances, right? Maybe do something outside the box. Might be, at least it might feel new to you, right? So even if it's not necessarily an uncommon thing, it might be a bit outside the box for how you normally would have approached that area of life. But yeah, looks like there's a bit of a risk involved, but I feel like you feel comfortable taking that risk and knowing what's involved with it. All right, so for your third house, which we already mentioned all the stuff with all the Aries energy going through there, but as for your tarot card, we have the Mother of Roots. So this is actually a Capricorn energy. So it's the equivalent to the Queen of Pentacles, which is your 12th house. So to see this here, it could just be saying that, yeah, there might be a lot going on beneath the surface that you might not be communicating outright, so it could just be one of those things where even when people are interacting with you, they might just be able to tell that behind your eyes, there's a lot of inner workings going on, right? The gears could be turning behind the scenes for you guys. So I feel like there's something significant that you do want to communicate, right? You just might not be ready to do so quite yet, right? Maybe because for some of you, you're still trying to organize the thoughts yourself before you try to articulate them. But for others, it could just be because you know it's going to be such a big thing and a big shakeup and something that you want to get just right. So you could just be taking your time as far as that goes. All right. So for your fourth house of home, roots, and family, we have the Daughter of Horns. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Cups, essentially. So to me, this says at least in your home environment, you might be feeling comfortable, right? You might be feeling a little bit loose, maybe feeling a little bit more creative, relaxed, right? Some of you might actually just want to explore your environment a little bit more as well. But either way, this definitely seems to be a light, playful energy that you have there. All right. So for your fifth house energy pointing to romance, creativity, and children, we have the Hanged One. So this is the Hangman in traditional tarot, not a huge departure in the name there, but yeah. So seeing this here, I'll just be saying that you might feel a little bit blocked and stifled when it comes to your creativity, right? It's like maybe the ideas might be there, but you're not quite ready or not quite grasping how to bring them to fruition. So you could just be in a bit of a holding phase as far as that goes. That could also be related to what we were seeing with the third house, right? Where, like I said, it's like there's something beneath the surface that you're preparing to bring forward, but you're just not quite ready to yet. So yeah, so for some of you, this can revolve around creativity or maybe even just expressing feelings with someone, right? Given that fifth house can also point to romance. But yeah, looks like it's very much beneath the surface for you right now. All right, so for your sixth house of health, work, and daily routines, we have the Wheel of Fortune. So, I mean, this is actually a very good energy to see there. This is typically representative of Jupiter. And technically, Jupiter is in your seventh house, but to see this pop up in your sixth house to me says that things could be turning around for you guys when it comes to your work, right? So if there's been a struggle there, it could just be saying that okay, you might start to see a bit of a turnaround as far as that goes. With your daily routines as well, right? Maybe there's some improvement there. Some things maybe you had problems sticking with a workout routine, for example. Now you might start to feel like it flows a little bit better for you, comes to you a little bit more naturally. This is even around health issues that you might have had, right? Where it felt like it was just these things that would stick, right? Like, how do I shake this loose? You could finally start to feel that start to lift a little bit as well. So, definitely a good energy to see in your sixth house, given all the things that it could cover. All right, so for your seventh house, which points to partnerships, contracts, or relationships, we have the Sun. So, definitely a strong energy to see here as well. Now, the natural ruler, the Sun is the natural ruler of your seventh house, is what I was trying to say. So, could be pointing to that, given that we're pretty much just wrapping up Leo season. But more than that, I feel like this is more pointing to an energy, right? So, whoever just be someone that you do connect with in a more of a romantic sense and try to build a relationship, or if it's more of like a business partnership, I feel like this is saying that there's going to be a light and playful energy between the two of you, but also productive, right? So that's a positive there. I mean, to me, in any kind of partnership, that sounds like a good deal. So, um, and it could just be saying too, maybe the timing could be good for that too. If you did go through a bit of a heavier phase, right? Maybe this is just energetically you're being sent someone who does bring out a bit more of a light, optimistic, playful side out of you. All right, so for your eighth house energy, which points to death, rebirth, intimacy, and investments, we have the Daughter of Arrows. So this is the equivalent of the Page of Swords. So yeah, so for some of you, I feel like this directly ties in what we were saying with the Fool, right? So maybe, for example, you're thinking of investing money in something for the first time, right? So there's that little bit of shakiness around it. We're like, okay, I haven't done this before, right? It feels like a totally new realm. But again, like I said, if that's the case, I have the feeling that what it would be is, yes, it might be unique for you to this point, but there's probably others who have done it before or might at least know more about it. So maybe you could turn to your community in some way for that, or just research it a little bit more online. But at the very least, it says to me that this is something that you feel like okay, like a bit of a fish out of water doing, but you're going to start doing it. All right, so for your ninth house energy, we have justice. So, in general, ninth house points to philosophy, higher learning, foreign affairs. So, this could just be pointing to a belief that you have in general, right? Which could be of justice, right? So, maybe for some of you, that's why you have this optimism coming to the surface for you guys, right? As far as like, okay, you know what? Even if I did go through rough times, right? Hey, things are going to balance out for me now. So, I was on the downside, upside's on its way, right? So that could be what the Wheel of Fortune is pointing to as well with the sixth house energy, right? So it could just be saying that that's your general belief. But for others of you, this could just be saying that, yeah, maybe you're trying to be a little bit more proactive around that too, right? So if you see any injustices, you might be trying to help set the scales back on balance as far as that goes. But, and then, we talked about too, given that at least for a bit, we still have Venus in Libra, and it's going to start its pre uh, retrograde shadow. That could be what's helping you revisit some of that as well. All right, so for your 10th house energy, we have inspiration. So, 10th house in general points to career and social status, and this is the equivalent of the Ace of Wands. So, definitely a good thing to see there, right? Because, like I said, for some of you might have felt a little bit blocked, maybe with your creativity, right? Again, like I said, I feel like there's something big beneath the surface that you're just not quite ready to bring out just yet. But to see this showing up here to me says that if this is around your career, it looks like this is a positive indicator that you're going to feel inspired, reinvigorated, right? Maybe through partnerships that we talked about earlier. But the timing looks good for that too, as far as seeing the Wheel of Fortune in the sixth. For your 11th house of friendships, groups, hopes, and wishes, we have accomplishment. So this is the Nine of Roots, Nine of Pentacles in most decks. And if you think of the artwork, right, usually it's a individual with all of their pentacles. Looks like they're in a nice garden, right? So it could just be pointing to that, saying that you're going to feel a sense of accomplishment, right? So even if you're not interacting with a lot of people, you have the feeling that, hey, I could rely on myself if nothing else, right? Or this could just be saying that maybe your friends remind you of all the things you've accomplished, right? If you did go through a cycle where you're feeling a little bit down on yourselves, they could be there to remind you of all the things you have done, right? So either way, I feel like this is a strong energy in that regard. Astrologically, there's nothing really pointing to what could bring that out just yet, just as far as Sagittarius is your 11th house, and it's a little quiet there right now, but definitely a good energy to see, though. It is technically a Virgo card, and could just be pointing to a timeline, too, saying that early on in September you might be feeling that way. All right, and for your 12th house, which in general points to spirituality, blind spots, and mental health, we have victory. So this is the Six of Feathers, Six of Wands in a lot of decks. It's also Leo energy. So seeing this here could just be saying that, yeah, maybe you've overcome like those inner demons, right? Like even if it's just as simple as an inner voice that would talk you out of things that, deep down you knew you could accomplish them, but for whatever reason, you'd let yourself talk yourselves out of doing those things, right? It could just be saying that you're finally getting a hold over that, right? That voice that downplays your accomplishments, right? To your detriment, right? It could be good to downplay accomplishments in the right setting for the right reason, right? If you don't want to be egotistical, things like that, but just to where, you let that stop you from believing other things you could accomplish, things like that. I feel like this is saying that if you've gone through a cycle like that, which, could be more common than the Aquarius might admit, given that you guys have, Saturn ruling your 12th house, right? It's a heavy energy. So some of you do have those harsh inner critics that could be hard to overcome at times, but this looks like a good indicator you'll be doing so this month, or at least moving in that direction pretty strongly. All right, and bottom of the deck we have anguish. So this is the Nine of Arrows, the equivalent to the Nine of Swords, and it is a Gemini energy. So for fifth house, now, yeah, maybe this is why you are a little bit more hesitant when it comes to creative projects, right? It's like, okay, you know what? The last one I tried to get off the ground did not go as expected, right? Not feeling too good about that. On a more serious and heavy note, I can even say, given that, like we talked about, fifth house could be romance, creativity, children, right? So if we look at the artwork at face value there too, for some of you, if this was even around the loss of a child, right, that could be maybe something that you're bouncing back from, right? If you were hard on yourselves in some way, feeling like, oh, could I have done something better, right? And the Wheel of Fortune could just be saying, hey, the cycle of life there, right? As far as your health, getting your health back now and being back on track and, everything unfolding the way it should in that regard. Could just be helping you overcome that as well. If that's something that, again, like I said, being hard on yourselves in some way, finally being able to put that behind you. But we'll see what the Oracle card adds to the mix. So I'm just going to give this a few shuffles, then we'll cut the deck and pull a card. Making a mess, but I'll take this card, get this out of the way, and we'll see what you got. All right, we have flexible. There's the artwork, and the number is 19. So we'll see what this has to say. All right, essential meanings says teachability, open-mindedness, being adaptable without compromising what's most important. The oracle's message: a tree's roots are solidly planted in the ground, yet its branches can bend in a hurricane, whereas a rigid structure like a building would come crashing down. Consider how the tree remains supple and secure, and everything around it may be in shambles. This is how you need to be now, willing to learn new things, teachable, malleable, yet firmly grounded in who you are. Common sense is important, but so is an open mind. Stay curious, stay open, stay aware. At this time, others will be more flexible with you too. So that was actually an interesting message there, reading about that, because it made me think of the ninth house energy and then seeing justice in there, right? Which, again, that's actually Libran energy or natural ninth house placement, but reading that message took me back to that for whatever reason. The relationship message says in every relationship, it's important to be open to new experiences and learning new things. Letting go of rigidity is what's required right now. You don't always have to be right all the time, do you? It's okay to come to a happy compromise. You can still get your needs met. It's a beautiful day when you meet halfway. The appearance of this card in a reading could also signal that you have met someone who may not be your type, but who will still turn out to be so special that you can easily release your old ideas about what sort of partner is right for you. Be flexible. You'll be happy you made that choice. So interesting message there, right? Because if we think of the sun as a contrast, right? So, like I said, rightfully so, if you were going through some heavier energies, maybe you're not in that light, playful energy right now, but maybe someone comes along who is embodying that energy, and you're like, you know what, I don't know if that's really a good vibe for me right now, right? But it could just be saying, hey, actually stay a little bit open-minded. It might just be what you need at this time, and of course there could be more layers to them as well, just like there are with you. All right, and the prosperity message says, even when you have a clear vision of how you're going to manifest something, what it will look like, who will share in it, and what will then be available to you, you still need to relax and open up to other possibilities. Spirit may have much better plans for you. It could be a job you hadn't thought of, a new source of money, or some other opportunity that eluded your imagination. Be flexible and remind yourself, this or something better manifests for me now. Then be willing to bend a little. Enjoy the miraculous results. So yeah, I like that message as well. And that makes me think more so of the Wheel of Fortune in the sixth, which of course, like I said, that definitely ties into prosperity with the work element and daily routines and everything. But yeah, definitely an interesting reading there, but hopefully that resonated with you guys, and we'll wrap up there. All right, bye.